bozo, you con man, you fraud, you cheated people, you stole from people, and now you're going to jail. Alex Mashinsky, who we've extensively covered on the channel, just pled guilty to a multi-billion-dollar fraud and market manipulation scheme. We got to cover it, guys. I know we already talked about him getting arrested, but it's so important to follow these clowns as they go from riding high, scamming people to jail because it is so rare. On CoffeeZilla, I rarely wear my Sunday best here because most of the time people get away with it. That's just the cold, hard truth. So when they don't, when we get an inkling of justice, it is so important to talk about it, celebrate it, and make fun of these people. I cannot overstate how insane this story has been. So instead, I want to walk you through a trip down memory lane, if you will, of who Alex Mashinsky is, what Celsius was, a bank that wasn't a bank, and the irony of a guy who said, unbank yourself, ultimately defrauding people. The headline, of course, is that this guy will go to jail for a long time, but I want to show you the human cost and explain that this isn't some victimless crime. I, of course, spoke to a lot of the victims, and here's what they told me looking back on Alex Mashinsky's fraud.
I've been working since I was 14.
I was investing my first couple of jobs out of college.
Ultimately stopped us from buying a house.
Honestly, that loss was a culmination of many years of work. He made a lot of egregious claims on his Twitter, on his website, on his podcasts he would do, claiming if Celsius ever went bankrupt, all the customers would get all of their funds back. You know, there's tweets of him saying that. And now that everything's coming to light and showing that essentially what he was running as a Ponzi, I do believe he should face jail time.
That's right. Far from being a victimless crime, Alex Mashinsky, who often wore shirts that said, unbank yourself, banks are not your friends, of course, was lying himself and ultimately got put on the wall of shame, as you can see here. But we cannot forget all the things that happened along the way, like when he taunted the victims by, I think his wife sold this unbankrupt yourself merch for their company. Of course, this is when Celsius was in bankruptcy. Previously, they had the saying, unbank yourself. They're playing on their famous saying, unbank yourself. Now they're saying, unbankrupt yourself, taunting the victims. All the while, they knew that this was an unsustainable Ponzi scheme. They say right here that no one was buying their main token except for us. The main problem was that the value was fake and based on us spending millions a week to keep it where it is. All the while, Alex Mashinsky was assuring the public that they had plenty of money and that what they were doing was not risky. He said as much on a podcast with Peter Schiff, where he said that they were not taking risk to give you yield on your crypto.
Bitcoin pays dividend. Price Celsius.
How does Bitcoin pay a dividend?
6.2% dividend. Because we earn yield.
How do you earn yield on Bitcoin? What do you do to generate income on that Bitcoin?
I'm happy to spend an hour with you.
Yeah, you're trading it. You've got to be taking a tremendous amount of risk. The Bitcoin itself doesn't generate any yield.
It does. Just like any other asset can generate yield. Gold.
No, but what earnings does the Bitcoin generate?
Gold generates 5.5% at Celsius. Yield.
No,
tokenized
what
gold
are you doing to generate that? You
5.5%.
must be taking tremendous risk to generate those returns. Of course you are.
Okay.
You're not. Of course you must be.
Look, you can see the frustration as Peter Schiff says, well, of course you have to be taking risk to earn a yield on an asset which does not natively have a yield. And Alex Mashinsky, again, lied through his teeth to personally enrich himself at the expense of a lot of victims. That's why I'm very proud to say that Alex Mashinsky, who's 58 years old right now, pled guilty to 2 counts of fraud, which carry a maximum sentence of 30 years in jail. I don't think he'll probably get the full amount, but safe to say, at his age, his life scamming is likely over.